So in our exploration of spheres and grid shells, today we are going to look at this connected dodecahedron, which is kind of layered and tiered, as you can see, as well as connected to one another. So to start off, go to your Extended Primitives tab and model up a hedra. So I'm just going to make sure that you selected the dodec family and set your P to 0.2. So now what we want to do is just change your Q setting to 0.5, and then we're just going to convert this to an edit poly. We're just going to select all of our polygons and then add an inset command. So make sure you've got your settings set to by polygon. And there we've kind of got our first grid shell. So just delete the unnecessary faces and add a shell modifier. That's looking a bit too heavy, so we're just going to adjust the parameters. So we're going to keep our inner amount to 0 and then adjust our outer amount a little bit more. So I'm just going to set it to about 2 centimeters. Maybe give our inner amount a little bit. So it depends on your initial geometry of your shape. So what I'm going to do is maybe just keep it at 0.5 inner and 0.2 outer. Next, we're going to add our edit poly modifier. And then what we want to do is to actually hold your shift and scale so that you're creating about scale it to about 80% smaller and create a copy of your object. So we're just going to create 3 copies here. Make sure you are holding down shift as you scale it to be able to get this. And there we've got our basic 3 objects. We're just going to select them and then you can attach them together so that they are now one object but 4 different elements. So the next step we want to do is to, connect these together. So how we do that, first off, we're going to start with our first element. We're just going to hide what we don't need. Simply do that by selecting on your element and then clicking on hide unselected. Next, go to our polygon, and this is when we are just going to select the edges that we want to connect to the other 3 elements. So because this is the outer shell, we only have to select what's on the inside. So you can do that selecting on all the edges. You can also click on your modify selection and select similar. So just make sure that it has indeed selected everything. Otherwise, just manually select anything that's been left over. So now that we've kind of selected what we need, before we go on to selecting other things, what we want to do is simply go up to your selection bar and give this selection a name. So that way we've just kind of created a saved selection that we can go back and select later. What I want to do now is to just kind of repeat the process for the remaining 3 tiers. So click on your element and hide whatever you don't need using the hide unselected tool. We're just going to repeat the process, but this time, because this connects on both the outer and inner layers, we're just going to select the outer and inner edges. So make sure you can also go to your modeling tab and select similar. Make sure everything's been selected, and then we can create another selection B. Great. Now we've got our all our different I've just gone ahead and made sure we've got all our selections done. So all you have to do is repeat the process for the other two layers. And once we've got all of our selections, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna click on that button there, and we're just gonna combine all of them. I'm just gonna name the new set as all, and then you can simply drop it down and click all. So that way all of your selections have been selected, and we're just gonna click on bridge, bring up the settings here and give it about two sides. So now you can see our object is starting to take form. Finally, we're just going to add a turbo smooth modifier and maybe increase the iteration. That way we can have a kind of smooth object for our final kind of spherical organic form. Just going to show it to you. There we have it. Our kind of organic dodecahedron.